You know, we have this customer advisory board. We got the group together and we said, what's on your minds? What would you like to see for this leadership event? And one of the things that came up had to do with the pandemic and the reality that, hey, it's just been hard on people. It's been hard on human beings to go through what we've been going through the last 18 months, roughly. And so people started asking for things like self-care. How do I take care of myself? I've been busy leading a bunch of people and trying to make sure everybody's okay, but I feel that I'm not my best right now, or maybe I'm dragging, or things have just been hard. And so as I thought about what we could do around self-care, I had just had an amazing podcast interview with Tommy where I won't put words in his mouth, but I feel like we just hit it off, and it felt like, hey, this is like a brother from another mother. I have one of my actual brothers on Zoom, so this is a family affair. David is right there, yeah. So David, I'm introducing you to our brother Tommy. Anyway, we had a great connection, and the reason this connection happened actually is Stephen Westner connected us because Tommy had been a guest on Stephen's podcast a couple of times, and Stephen said, hey, you ought to have Tommy on your podcast. And I trust Stephen. And I thought, okay, I will. And as we were having the interview, I was like, yes, this is one of the best introductions I've ever had. So self-care was the topic that came out of the customer advisory board. And Tommy and I had just had an amazing conversation about what he's dedicated his life to. And I just saw the fit. And so because we had connected well on the podcast, I felt, I guess, forward enough to say, Tommy, would you mind coming and talking to our group about this topic? So the event theme has been leadership. And so this session is, as you see from the title slide up here, is leading from the inside out. How do we lead ourselves powerfully so that we can lead others? Because as we'll come to talk about during this time together, you really can't be effective leading other people if we don't figure out how to lead ourselves well. So I kind of skipped all the goodness here. Tommy is a bestseller on Wall Street Journal and USA Today, best-selling author of this book right here. It's called Legendary. I highly recommend it. You guys know I read a fair amount, and we give you guys books. This is one that I thought, this is truth. I enjoyed it thoroughly, all of it. So thank you for putting that together. You'll notice that I have a couple of them here that I said, Tommy, you can give away a couple copies of your book as we get into some discussion. And we're not going to leave the Zoomers out. So we'll have a couple in here to give away, and then we'll have a couple for participation on Zoom that we'll mail to you. So we've got a few books that we'll give away. So Tommy is the best-selling author of this book, Legendary. He's also a business relationship and mindset coach. He's regularly featured as a keynote speaker on global stages. He spent, super fascinating, I don't know how much we're going to get into this as we talk today, but he spent about 20 years, close to 20 years, climbing a corporate ladder, and was a senior executive and partner at a really, really large firm, realized that was not what he was put on the planet to do, and needed to make some changes to be more congruent with who he was, to live more in integrity with who he is. And so he left all that behind to jump into this world of coaching others and helping people out. So I'm not going to get into much more of that, but he is from Georgia. He loves his bulldogs, right? Dogs.
Amen.
Go dogs.
Go dogs.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Go dogs.
Atlanta, right here. This table is your friends, and RJ's from Atlanta as well. Yeah.
RJ.
All right. So he likes to travel the world, hike, spend quality time with his wife and 2 dogs. More dogs. Go dogs.
Go dogs.
Anyway, we're just thrilled to have you here. So let's welcome Tommy Breedlove. All right, so this is a little bit of a fireside chat, and I know you guys want to hear from Tommy more than from me, but we agreed that we would just kind of tag team this. So I'm going to put these down here momentarily. and we're going to kick this off. So Tommy, this doesn't have to be interview style the whole time. We can just riff.
Let's
all
do
right?
it, brother. Let's do it.
But talk to us a little bit about, let's get a fairly short version of your personal journey to figure out what it meant to lead yourself so that you could be more for everyone else.
Yeah, totally. So I'll give you my 3-minute personal journey of leading myself. Grew up humble beginnings around violence and abuse, was scheduled to be the first person in my family to graduate college, full ride to University of Georgia and a lot of other places. Instead, became the violence I hated, committed a violent crime at 18 instead of going to a full ride to Georgia, sentenced to 7 years in prison. Luckily, it was dropped to 2 misdemeanors. Picked myself up, dusted myself off, went to a factory, community college, back to University of Georgia, to Deloitte. So one of my big accomplishments in 3 years, I literally went from a cage to Deloitte and Touche and spent a lot of time in Scottsdale. Thank you. Fast forward 16 years, senior partner, not a senior partner yet, but a super high level, not at Deloitte anymore, had been recruited out of a bunch of other firms, and I was that guy that was gonna outcompete you, outwork you, out-hustle you. I was still that angry, raging, bitter guy, and it was no longer with these anymore, but now it was about outcompeting you, out-politicking you, and just being better than you and outworking you. I was literally that guy who was who turns the lights out last wins. So at 36 years old, when the money, title, fame, watch, blah, 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 had all the shiny things in the world, corner office, literally that looked down on the city of Atlanta, and wondered why I was still unhappy, why I was miserable, why I felt alone and scared. But outside, I was that arrogant guy. And by the way, if there's any arrogant people in here, that's just insecure on steroids, takes one to know one. So I was the guy that showed up with all of this armor and mask on because I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't know what was going on. So I just thought money, power, status, and fame, which is what a lot of men crave. Don't send me any hate email. It's just statistics: power, money, fame, respect. That's what men crave. We can go into women later. But when, seriously, we can talk about it all day long. This is the world I'm in now. But when that didn't fill me up, I turned to all of the darkness that I thought would make me feel better. And so think of the Wolf of Wall Street. At 36 years old, here I am, got all the things in the world. On the outside, I looked like I was great. On the inside, I ended up waking up in a ditch in downtown. Decided to transform my life, literally decided at that moment through a whole bunch of things that we don't have to get into today. I'm just doing a summary. When I decided to make me my full-time job and lead from the inside out, I didn't come up with that. That's badass, by the way. I think he came up with that. When I decided to lead from the inside out and really make me my full-time job, my heart, my mind, my soul, my body, when I started leading myself first let me tell you what happened on the outside. In 3 years, I went from junior partner to senior partner to international practice leader to elected to the board of directors. I was 39. Most of the people were in their 60s. My income doubled, my network 10x'd. But here's the most important part. I went from being one of the most hated people of the firm to one of the most beloved. I went from being angry, insecure, fearful, judgmental to peaceful, happy, content. My marriage went from on life support to now the strongest it's ever been. And I just found this sense of well-being. And here's what the cool thing, and all of that happened in 3 years. So I never planned on leaving the financial consulting, mergers and acquisitions world. I never did. But that's when my network of entrepreneurs, corporate executives, bankers, lawyers, accountants, you name it, started reaching out to me and saying, hey man, I've seen you go through all of these massive changes. What drug are you taking? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I was like, no man, it was a lot of work, a lot of internal, looking in the mirror, problem and solution. And at that point, after a lot of great coaching from other coaches, a lot of mentorship, unconditional support of my wife, that's a whole different story when I decided to resign my board seat and walk away from 70% of our household income. But I decided to chase this dream of helping ambitious, driven humans to not only be successful. I'm a money guy. I'm not one of those money is not important guys. I'm that T. Harv Eker guy. If they say money's not important, run from them, they're broke. I'm that guy. But I also don't want people to compromise everything in the ghost of more and win. And so I walked away, and since then, wrote this Wall Street Journal best-selling book, and formed a world-class executive mastermind retreat conference program, bought a lodge, and chasing the dream for the last 8 years. So that's my background story. So that was probably more than 3 minutes.
That was great. That was great. Thank you. All right, so you may not find yourself thinking, well, I'm not in the place, in the before situation that Tommy described, and I'm glad you're not. And by the way, we don't have a lot of egocentric people in the room, and I say that at the extreme, right? Like, we may all have some challenges to some degree around those things, but this is largely a growth-oriented, care about people, want to learn, grow my business the right way kind of people. That's who we have here. And when I reflect on it, I just think, wow, how amazing that I get to work with this type of people all the time. These are wonderful human beings. But where this started was, it's the last 18 months been kind of hard. There's been a lot going on in the world. Maybe for some of these people, the business was struggling. For others, the business grew and it was great, but there's overwhelm that comes with that. And so whatever the pandemic has been for any of us, there's still, it invited us to think about our own mental and emotional well-being at a level that maybe we hadn't been invited to consider for some time. And while the circumstances may be different from what Tommy described, his journey to get to a place where he now helps people be well, the whole self be well, that's important learning that we can all apply to whatever situation we're in. So that's what I would like us to be talking about for this time.
Totally.
So if you think about somebody who may be a little battle fatigued, right? Maybe emotionally, mentally, business has been hard, or maybe just taking care of a family that fears what's going on in the world, or whatever it is. I read some really great ideas in that book. You don't have to read from the pages, though. You can share some of them. What would you recommend for somebody? And I'll start the questions, but then pretty quickly we're going to let other people ask questions.
Please.
Okay. What would you recommend for people as steps to get started on a path to personal well-being, to lead ourselves first?
So if you asked me what's the one thing that I think this world needs more of, and most people would say compassion, empathy, open-mindedness, blah, blah, blah. We're born with that. We've just lost it because of what we put into our eyes and ears. If you asked me what I think we need, it's personal accountability. That's it. So if your relationship is not right, you're not happy, you're not as successful as you want to be, your business is struggling, there's all these pressures. You guys are all business owners. We know the profit burden, we know the employment burden, we know the pressures that we have. I've got them now. But go find the nearest mirror. That is your problem and your solution. And I'm not being cold, I'm being honest. So wherever you lack in life, and by the way, we talked about, I'm over the word pandemic, but we're still here in it. But whatever you struggled on before, it went 10x on that. So if your relationship was not strong, now it's 10x not strong. If your business was struggling, now it's 10x struggling. That's just life, because it got hard. And so for me, personal accountability, what does that mean? In the book, I love this saying, you've got to participate in your own rescue. So what does that mean? We say, because it's the right thing to say, what's the most important thing to all of you? My family. If you're an entrepreneur, that's complete bullshit. It is bullshit. I'm just calling it out as I see it. You put your business first, and you put the time into your business first. Then, God willing, family, friends, network. And guess what we probably put last? Us. And I'm not talking about those I see a lot of healthy people in here. You probably go out and ski or work out. We put this muscle, and if it's important to you, I'm not talking religion, this muscle last. We got to reverse engineer that. We've got to reverse engineer it. How do we get respect if we don't respect ourselves? How do we truly love others if we don't love ourselves? How do we lead if we don't lead ourselves? And it starts with investing in ourselves first. Because it's not if life happens, it's when. Death, sickness, economic, social unrest, it's coming. This is the best time it's ever been. I know the news wants to tell you Rome is burning. This is the best time in history it has ever been. But it doesn't make the pressures and what life is coming any less, right? So for me, and I believe this down into the core of my being, is just like the physical exercise, just like the muscles so that we stay healthy. We got to work on our hearts, our minds, if it's important to you, whatever's bigger than you are, every single day, 30 to 45 minutes. And it helps you get stronger, helps you stand taller with your head up, helps you be more confident. Confidence is about doing the reps, by the way. You can be confident in anything and still have a low self-worth. Self-esteem, self-respect, self-love, that's all cultivated over time. And just a little more to that, it doesn't matter. You didn't have to land in the ditch or come from violence. We all have our own backstories. And let me be clear, every single person in this room, even the dudes in the back, they've got these stories that they tell themselves because we've been told these stories our entire lives. We're not enough here. We're not smart enough here. We don't have enough money. I'm not as good looking as this guy here. I'm not as rich as her right there. Whatever it is, we tell ourselves these stories. We've got to start unwiring these stories. And anything that was told to us, anything that we believe, we can unbelieve so that, again, no matter what life or business or entrepreneurship or whatever it is that's thrown into us, we can stand with confidence and courage. We can lead from the front. And that is how you get through whatever it is you're going through. I'm pretty passionate about this. So anyway.
One of the things that that was obvious from our podcast interview, how passionate you were. I mean, authenticity, your name has love in it. Tommy breed love. And he's learned that I think a lot of big guys that are, 6'2" and whatever you are, he's bigger than I am. He's
160, 6'2" and 160.
Okay, 160. All right, whatever he is.
For the record. Is it being recorded for the record?
Yeah. So he's a big guy. In the book, he talks about him being an alpha male, right? Like he grew up in violence and all that, but he's not a violent man now. He comes in, the first time I see him, he gave me a hug. He has love in his name, but I could just sense the authenticity from this man, from this being. And I think that you're going to see that for the rest of our time together, right? Not I think. You are going to see authenticity. And that's part of what I want for all of you. Selfishly, because I know the kinds of difference that it makes for you as a leader when you become who you really are. When you lead from that place and you feel good about who you are in that place, that changes all of the interactions you have with your people. And allows them to be those people, right? Allows them to be their authentic self. But as long as we keep putting up the guard and trying to be the business owner who knows all the answers and doesn't ever get it wrong and doesn't, employees are headaches and I don't need to listen to them. As long as you're living in that space, you're not going to be able to be authentic, and you're not going to invite and enroll others to be that way either. So I need to strike a balance here because.
Can I riff off that?
Yeah, riff away.
All right, you guys want some things to write down? I like Steve. What was the last guy's name?
Steve.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. I'm gonna use one of his. Write this down. Do you want to know what people want in their leaders? You ready? I'm gonna give it to you real quick. Confidence, number one. That's the one thing that people look for in their leaders. It is confidence. Write that down. And I'm not talking about just confident in your craft and in your business. Confident in who you are. One is about doing the reps in your craft. The other is about cultivating that self that we were talking about. So they crave confidence. Number two, they want optimism. That's pretty self-explanatory. Number three, this is the one I want to riff off of. They want authenticity. And I'm not telling you to walk into your employees and emotionally puke on them and tell them about all the problems you got. Authenticity is not sharing your opinions either. Opinions sound like this: you should. When you use the word should, you have put yourself in the opinion category, and it's the most shaming word in the whole English dictionary. Eliminate the word should from your dictionary. Authenticity is about sharing wisdom. When someone comes to you for guidance or help or to be better, or they're struggling or have made a mistake, that's the moment you stand next to them and tell them a time either you've made the same mistake, you've seen the same mistake, or you've been there. Now you're not in front of them or behind them, you're walking next to them, right? And then you share them what you went through, what it cost you, what you did to prevent it, and what it looks like now. And you know what you've given them when you do that? you have given them the gift of going second. I'm doing that for you right now. I got up here and told you all my scars, warts, wounds. Not to emotionally vomit on you. You just say, here's where it was, here it is, here's what it looks like now. When you do that with your employees, they will walk through walls for you. Steve said they pay $4 less. That's because they probably believe that man will walk through a wall for them, and they vice versa. When you show authenticity, not emotionally vomiting, but true authenticity, take off the Superman cape and walk with them, they'll love you forever. I don't want to go into the other two, but the other two is showing up. That sounds different than it means. Showing up is we get really busy as entrepreneurs. We got a lot of pressures on us. Our calendars get full. When we start canceling on our people and the commitments we make to our people, all of us are guilty as charged, including this guy here, got a lot better at it. We say that's okay to not show up, to not honor your commitments. And we also say our time is more important than their time. Either say no at the beginning or don't make the commitment to begin with, because as a culture in your business, if you start doing that with your subordinates, it will eat you from the inside out, and it is a cancer. And the last one, and this is the one you really want to write down, because it will make you the most money. This is where you add value, the whole stock thing he was talking about, is you got, and this is big time in the book, you got to prioritize. I'm not one of those people that say if you have more than one priority, you have none. I say if you have more than three, you have none. So 3 priorities in your business. He said, he was talking about it at last. What are your 3 priorities? And you got to spend 3 to 4 hours a day there without distraction. I've watched all of the people in this room be on their computers, their phones. I watched it. It's driving me nuts. Man's up there showing you guys wisdom. Like, one person had like 4 things going. I'm like, that's pretty badass. But you know the statistics on that? If you, 1 out of 100 of you can multitask. 1. Now here's what's lovely about groups of entrepreneurs. They all think that they're the one. I'm it. I'm the one. I'm it. But only 1 of you can actually
one out of 99 of you, because it's not me.
It's not me either. And if you just have one thing open out, let's say you're doing a presentation or a sales thing, or whatever you got to do, or working in your craft, even if your email is up or your phone is near you, 40% less productive. Think about that, 40%. If you can get lasered in, I'm only asking for half your day. That's it. Ask Lynn's back there. She'll tell you, I get lasered in. I don't have an email. I'm not taking calls. Lasered in to whatever your 3 priority as the leaders of your organization. If you can laser focus there for 4 hours and do all the minutiae of the rest, 6, 8, whatever you want to do, profit, efficiency, happiness, peace of mind, moving the ball forward. So that's what people crave in leadership. I'll stop there. So let's riff.
Yeah, so let's riff on, let's assume that every single one of these people, or 99 out of 100, the 1 is exempt. 99 out of 100, let's assume that they're coming to us in a state of varying degrees of illness around head and heart and like their own well-being, right? That they're not really leading powerfully themselves, so they can't be the leader they could be for everyone else. Where would you suggest they start? How would they begin on a path towards complete wellness for themselves so that they can be great?
I'm going to ask for some trust here, and then I'm going to ask you to write it down. And this, I'm riffing off of Steve because I really enjoyed him. So I ask for some trust, and for those of you beautiful humans over there on the Zoom, which most of you have your hello, I like looking good over there, y'all. I hope I'm looking at you. I think I'm looking at you. Okay. You look good over there. I'm gonna, even you guys on the Zoom, guys and gals on Zoom, I'm gonna ask for your trust 1 second. I'm gonna tell you where to start. Do me a favor, close your eyes for a second. I'm being serious. We're not gonna take off our shirts, I promise. Just close your eyes. I'm gonna ask you one question only. I'm asking you for business and life. What's the one thing in your life that if you either added it or took it away would increase your happiness 10x? That's question 1. I guarantee you knew it like that. Keeping your eyes closed. What's the one thing that if you added or took it away that would increase your business success 10x? I bet you knew it like that. Open your eyes and write it down. That's where you want to start. By the way, that's not mine. That's James Keller, by the way. The book's called The One Thing. It is a badass book. That's where you start. What is it? Personal. Is it your relationship? Is it your self-esteem? Is it that noise in your head? Is it I used to drink 2 IPAs, now I'm drinking 15 IPAs? It's happening all over. What is it that's either taken away? Is it a person? Is it a group of people that are sucking the soul out of you? On the business side, you know what you either need to add or take away. And you want to know where your deepest insecurities and fears and all that lie? It's why you're not taking that away. That's a whole different conversation for us. But you asked me where to start. I just told you where to start. I'm not asking you to stand up and say that because we all have it, right? But why are we not doing that? Why are we not taking or adding that away? That's where we start.
Love that. Now I want to get more specific on personal care routines.
Yep.
So you talk about exercising, heart, mind, relationship with something greater than self, depending on where your beliefs fall. So let's get practical. We're very big on practical here. Not that the other things you've said are practical, but like, let's talk about what does it look like, whether it's a morning routine or an end of day thing, or how much time, you mentioned 30 to 45 minutes. Was that on each one of those things? Was that all combined? Like, let's talk through a few practical things that people can do to take care of themselves or put them in a place that lets them be for others.
Okay, so I'll start here and then I'm gonna get into specifics, and I'm just gonna start firing away, and you've got to experiment, you've got to do you. But I will tell you the things that have changed my life. When I was a 36-year-old executive, making money, but I was just completely lost. I'll tell you the things that literally changed my life. That doesn't mean they will work for you, but I will tell you what they were for me. I will start here. Anything in life, the one thing we haven't concentrated on in our entire lives is financial health. We've done a piss poor job as a society teaching people money, how to use money and how to leverage money. You guys have that. I'm not worried about that. But really being strong with confidence, courage, self-esteem, and that's your heart and mind muscles. And we have to exercise them like muscles or they atrophy. And the fact is that most of us, it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s or your 70s, we haven't done much work there our whole lives. If you don't think we're mentally and emotionally and spiritually weak as a society, turn on 24-hour news or log into your social media. You will feel it. You will see it. Here's the thing. During our waking hours, if you are on any of that, I'm going to include, I'm not knocking, hey, I'm a guy who watches like Peaky Blinders and like House of Cards, all that shit too. I get it. But think about it. And I'm going to get to your question. For the waking part of our hours, if we're on news, social media, and the majority of the TV that we're watching on any of those networks, it is pure ass poison into our eyes and into our ears. Pure poison. And what happens if you listen and hear that all day long? You're going to be pissed off. You're going to be angry. You're going to be scared. You're going to blame the Democrats or the Republicans. You're going to blame one of the two because that's what they're telling you to do is divide, divide, divide. And they're telling you all, both sides, that you are a victim of something. And we start believing it. We start believing it. So the reason I say that is we have to minimize that down, take that poison out of our lives, and add the nutrition in. And I'm not telling you not to watch your favorite show. Do it, go for it. I'm not telling you to look at, Cat Yahoo or whatever, Cat YouTube, whatever you got to do, go do that. Have fun. I'm a fun guy. But we've got to minimize the exposure of the things that we're putting in our here, and here. What does that look like? I'm just going to fire them at you. There's a million of them in the book, by the way. So what do those things look like? Let me tell you the 3 things real quick. I told you I would do this, and then I'll get into some specifics of what I do everything. The number one thing, if I had to say that changed my life the most, is I read There's two parts to this one. I read every single thing I could get my hands on in the following two categories: personal development and business. And I was a financial badass. And I'm not saying that because I just was classically trained for 20-something years. I understand money. But here's the key. You don't read it. You don't read. These are great books up here, by the way. They're not good books. They're great books. You apply it. And you've probably read 30 great books. Go back and read them and apply it. That's the number one thing that changed my life. The number one thing that changed my soul, my emotions, and my mental, the personal development books were one because I applied them in my life. And there's truth and wisdom all over there, is gratitude. I am dogmatic at it. It's not only formally, informally. If I start getting angry or mad or in the car, I'm running late today. I was trying to get here to see some sessions. I immediately have formal and informal gratitude practice. What it does is it gets you out of fear, judgment, anger, cynicism, all that other stuff, and it gets you right here, right now, and it gets you in a place of what I do have. And it just, you start seeing the world differently, and it becomes a standard operating procedure over time. Third thing, this will not work for all of you. It will work out of 7 to 8 out of 10 for you. Meditate. Won't work for all of you. It'll work for most of you. And it's not the problem with us entrepreneurs is it's win, fail, I suck at it, I haven't conquered this thing yet. It is a practice. It is not a destination. It will help you be proactive and not reactive, and that will make you a lot of money in business. It'll help you be laser focused on who's talking to you. I'm right here with you right now. I hear what you're saying. I don't need to talk. I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I can listen to you. By the way, that's the best selling technique I can ever give any of you. Shut up and listen. That's it. People love hearing the sound of their own voice. They freaking love it. Just ask them. Just sit there and listen to him. Be the best meeting he's ever had in his whole life. He's going to buy something from me. He has no idea why, because he talked the whole time. 2 ears, 1 mouth. It will get you present. It will get you into deep listening. It'll get you where you are. It'll help you be proactive and not reactive. And as the world comes around you, you can stand there. And so those are the 3 things that really changed my life. Let me give you some others. Get outside as much as you can. Nature, nature, nature. It's God's TV. Look at a fire. You want to see God's TV? Look at a fire. Everybody will just stare at it. So that's it. Be around people. Here's my 2 rules for friends. You ready for this? We can go in deep on this because people always ask questions. If your friends don't make you better or make you happy, either or, they don't have to be both. If they do both, fantastic. The ones that make me better piss me off. They don't make me happy. They either have to make you better or make you happy. If they don't do that, fire them. We can talk about family later, okay? Talk about family later. But seriously, go to dinner with a friend. Take your spouse to dinner. Take your kid to dinner. Go for a walk in nature. Gratitude, journal, get quiet. If you're an entrepreneur and own your own business, you've got to find time to get quiet and walk or get into your own zone. You have to have thinking time. If you do not have scheduled thinking time, you are not running your business. You are working in your business. You always have to have think time. I do mine with walk. Linz, do we not schedule walk time quite a bit? Yep. No cell phone, no music. I'm out there walking, thinking, what's next? What's coming next? What am I not seeing? What do I need to do? So there's 1,000 others that are in the book. I'll stop. Those are tactics. They won't all work for you. And I'm talking start one thing. Don't come in there with a sword, man, because you just won't do it because we're all busy. And as you'll see in that book, I hate that word with a bloody passion. I hate the word busy. That means, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I sound like I'm a preacher up here, okay? I just realized I sound like a preacher. I'm passionate about this. Busy means that something or someone else is taking control of your time. Get that word out. When you say you're busy, that means you're just prioritizing. Warren Buffett, you, me, you guys, we don't have any more 24 hours. Prioritize your time, control your time, conquer your time, and get unbusy. So I'll stop.
So those are all great suggestions. We have plenty of time now to get some questions. If you have questions about how to do this for yourself, remember the goal here is how do I better lead myself so that I'm not just beholden to everything else, right? We do, unfortunately, most of us know what it feels like to be pulled by our business, where we're not running it, it's running us and all of that stuff. So how do we get into a better place for ourselves so that we can be better in our families, in our business, in our community, wherever we're trying to show up? So what questions do you have? If you're on Zoom, you can type them in. You can unmute yourself or raise your hand, and we'll make sure that we do one at a time here. But if you're here in the room, please go to the mic so that the folks on Zoom can hear.
I'm going to say this one thing when we're talking about these topics, because if I said, hey, how do we save 100 grand or how do we make 2 million, that line would be out the door on that microphone. When we start talking about real stuff, right? The real juice, this is the real juice. This is life. You're all looking at me now. No one's on their cell phone. I love that. Even the dudes in the back of them watching. It's kind of cool. But with that being said, when you talk about what I want you to hear is no matter what you're going through, business, employee, tough conversation at home, relationship, by the way, we all struggle in our relationships with our significant other. We're not alone. We have to work at them. But no matter what it is, whether it's leading yourself, loving yourself, self-respect, what I want people to hear is if you think it, you've messed up with it, you desire it, you have made a mistake or something's been done to you or you've done something, you're not alone. There's millions of other people that struggle with the same thing. And it just takes the courage of one person to stand up, asking a real question, asking a tough question, asking a raw question, and then the whole room opens up. Not very often it happens in a group setting like this. So it can get tough. It can get tough. So with that being said, you have the floor. Come on, man.
Raphael down in Australia said he would love to hear your thoughts on family. And Raph, I don't know if you have any more to add to it, but if so, I'm
Yeah, great. Actually, I resent the implication that we're underneath somehow.
What did he say?
Just playing with you.
There's that microaggression from Andrea.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I'm already
if you notice,
failing at this diversity thing.
the cartographers always put the globe with the northern hemisphere at the top. You know. Anyway, in all seriousness, you and I have the same rules for friends, it turns out. But I struggle to reconcile that with extended family, and I wonder what your thoughts are there.
Yeah, so I love the joke. Thank you for that, Raphael. And I don't know what time is it there, man, but kudos to you, brother. I think it's like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning. It's straight up badass. And it's tomorrow, no matter what it is, right? Yeah. Anyway, who's old enough to remember Y2K? When Australia didn't blow up, we're solid. You guys remember that? I don't know if you guys remember that. So literally the 2 most common questions I get is when we're talking about eliminating negative Nellies and the energy is family. The second biggest question I get is and by the way, if you're in business, I am in the business of coaching. I have 2 coaches. If you're in the business, you guys are all, there's your coach. Never mind, you got your mastermind. You're in it. So I'll stop that. But the second question I get is, once I start the journey of self-development, and this is usually from a spouse, self-development, leading yourself, getting better, getting stronger. What if my husband or wife wants to leave me? That's the 2 questions I get the most. And I'll start with the family one, Raphael. So the joke is that if you look around your family and you don't see the crazy one, you are it. So with that being said, we all have those family members that when they walk into the room, they lift the whole room up. You've all got that aunt, uncle, grandmother, kid, spouse, but we also have those direct family members, brothers, sisters, mom, dads, that they just can't get out of their own way, from negative Nelly to judging to telling you how you should live your life, blah, blah, blah. The problem is you can't do anything to change them, Raphael, myself, and the rest of the room and Zoom. What we can do is start setting boundaries and teaching them how to treat us over time with grace. And so you don't want to come in and tell them all their problems, how they should get a shrink or a coach or whatever, they're wrong, and getting that, because then we're shooting them. So what we have to do is change the conversation, spend less time with them, literally set boundaries in mom, dad, brother, sister. When you do that, so let me give you my example. I have a direct family member who did everything in her power to sabotage my marriage. Every everything in her power. Because you know what? Pain loves pain. It does. And hurt people want to hurt you. That doesn't mean they're a bad person. They just want to hurt you because they want to bring you down to where they are. And so on Tequila Rages, she would send me texts, she would call me, she would call my wife. She was doing everything in her power to destroy my marriage. And eventually I said, so-and-so, I promise you I love you. I want you in my life, but I will not allow you to destroy me or my family. You cannot give up your happiness, your sanity, your family, your joy, your company, or your family for another family member. You can't do it. The army is not worth the soldier. You love them, doesn't mean you have to like them. Doesn't mean you have to put up with their craziness, their anger. And it's where it hurts the most, y'all, and I'm not trying to be too deep, is mom and dad. That's where it hurts, right? Because mom and dad can be tough. We want to love them. We want to spend time with them, but we have to teach them how to treat us. We have to say no. We have to change the conversation. We have to have a deep conversation with them, telling them how we feel or the way you see it. And there's all these tools. You just got to practice. And what's happened over time with my family, and I don't have a problem looking around and seeing who the crazy one is. I don't have that problem. But what I have done is over time, over years of practice and not allowing certain behaviors and not allowing certain conversations, it's been the best it's ever been with my entire, and I'm going to lose my mom and dad this year. I know I am. But we have spent the last 3 years in love and fun. I've joined a book club with my mother. We're 2 members strong. If you want to join us, join in. This is one of the most negative, I love you, Mom, but you were negative at one time. Now she's happy. We're in book club. We're talking about, all these characters. And so there's other ways to have relationships with them that don't allow them, like any other human being, to bring you to their level. Again, you have to love them. You don't have to like them. And we can talk offline on more. So that's that. I hope that helped. Who else? Come on in, brother.
Rob's coming. Thank
Rob's
you, Rob.
either leaving or coming to the mic. You're welcome, brother.
Morning, and I love it, but tried, he's saying getting out in nature, meditate, exercise. I have a hard time at night shutting off my brain. I can't stop it. And it's because there's these overwhelming questions. It's like it just continues forever. And I know you should delegate, but how in the hell do you shut off your brain or give yourself that rest, mental rest?
How's your sleep, man?
Sucks.
Yeah. So I don't have the magic formula. If I did, I'd be sleeping right there with you, brother. Not in the same bed, but we'd be sleeping together. I have the same issue. I call it the Tommy go round. I can't turn it off. But what I have done is gamified it. So here's some strategies. I don't have your answer, but I'm gonna give you strategies that have helped me a lot. And I had these people last night, I'm staying right down the road, and they partied till 3 a.m. And these strategies help me sleep through that. So maybe this will gamify your sleep. So there's a lot of ways to gamify your sleep. First thing is, all of the blue light that you watch, if you have a TV in your bedroom, throw it out of your bedroom tomorrow. The bed is for 2 things. If you don't know what those 2 things are, see me afterwards. But because the blue light, it messes up, I forgot what they call that. It's, that. See, that's why he's so much smarter.
Circadian rhythm.
It'll literally it'll put you in Raphael's time zone in Australia. I'm not kidding. The blue light itself. So phones, computers, and your TVs, about an hour to an hour and a half before, you've got to shut them off, brother. Try reading something that bores the hell out of you that will make you better. Seriously, because it helps. I like to meditate. There's all these meditation apps out there. So there's rings and sleep. You got to be careful with the phone, though. You can gamify your sleep with rings, with watches, with sleep cycle, with sounds, with darkness, and with your brain is still on, but eventually it just calms and calms and calms. And it's a practice, right? And eventually you do fall asleep. So what I would do is eliminate all the distractions, read, meditate, and it's okay when you go to sleep at night. Meditation is not sleep, but if it helps you sleep, do that. That's what helped me last night with the people raising hell next to me, is I put in ear pods because it goes very quiet, and I did an entire meditation series and app on sleep. It was this woman just talking, and eventually I just fell asleep, and I woke up at 4 in the morning. She was just talking. I don't even know what she was talking about. But I've started like experiencing what works, what doesn't work, but input goodness. The meditation itself is about shutting down your mind, watching the planning tomorrow and the business and the employee and I've got to do this, I've got to do that. If you can continue to practice it, eventually you can separate yourself from it and watch all those thoughts. And as they come in, you can eliminate them. As they come in, you can eliminate them. And over time and practice, you will become more calm. And you can actually program your mind to remove those thoughts that you can get in a calmer state. Just gamify it and do your best, brother. I don't have the magic formula, or I'd be right there with you.
I'll add one thing, Rob. We had one of our former members here grow a successful software company, and he shared this hack. He said twice a week, he will schedule a morning that doesn't start until later, just as a hack. Because a lot of times our brains are thinking about tomorrow, right? The next day, the next commitment. And so 2 times a week, I think he did Tuesday, Thursday, he would not schedule anything until after 9:30 or something like that. Some unusually long period of time for him that would allow his brain the night before to go, oh, I've got an easy morning. I'm going to be able to sleep. So I don't know if that helps you, but twice a week he would do that to just say, brain, I don't have anything first thing tomorrow. You can sleep. And he'd probably still get up, but he would be able to rest better to just knowing that his calendar didn't have something first thing.
And I've done the same thing consistently now. I don't set an alarm anymore because the entrepreneur books were getting crazy. 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m., you're the best at 5 a.m. Pretty soon they're going to say, don't sleep. I don't know if you noticed the titles, 5 a.m., 4 a.m., 3 a.m., yeah. And then here's what I've done on that front. I don't do anything before 9 a.m. And I have to do my routine because of what we've got going on in our businesses and our employees and the stuff I deal with these executives on a regular basis. If I don't do it, I'm not strong for them. But here's something I have done, and it's directly related to what Brett just said. I've stopped setting an alarm. People are like, what, crazy? I've stopped setting an alarm. What I've noticed over time, and I gamify everything. I really do. What I've noticed over time is my body requires 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep. It requires it. And depending on what I'm doing at night, I don't set the alarm, but they don't set an appointment. We've got 3 people who create my schedule. They don't set appointments more for 9. Well, I don't go to bed late enough to where I'm pushing into the 9 o'clock hour anyway. What I've done, though, is my routines, my exercises, I just kind of shift them in during the day, and it's a good breakup for me anyway. And so I have not set an alarm. I haven't booked anything before 9 a.m., which I know that makes some of you sweat, but it has worked for me so that I can figure out what my sleep patterns is and not having all those pressures in the morning. Because what you don't want to wake up is go, God, I got a meeting in 3 minutes. You've already lost the day, right? You've already lost the day. When you wake up calm and your first thing is like, thank you, hey, I get another day, it's a little bit better. So that's something that has helped me as well. No, it came to me, a really good book on peak performance. It's called Peak Performance, and they literally interviewed entrepreneurs, executives, athletes, artists, like the best of the best, and they came up with these, quote, life hacks, and I got it from there.
Other questions? We have about 10 more minutes for questions. Eric, Marcy.
And I'll hang around afterwards if you want to tell me how bad your marriage is later, because that happens at every single thing I speak at. I have some solutions.
Marriage is good, so good there.
All right, brother.
I'd actually love to hear a little bit more about what you've got around the formal and informal gratitude. I heard you just kind of mention that phrase, and gratitude is something that's important for us in our business, one of our values.
I love it, brother.
So love to hear more about it.
So my formal gratitude, this is something, so I'm gonna answer your question and kind of give a variant of what I do. And this has come to me over 12 years of practice now since I've left the financial world. So every single day I write down 5 things I'm grateful for. That's my formal practice. Here's the key to that, y'all. You want to start that rewiring. You ready? 3 of them have to be to you. Ooh. How about that? That's called self-love. It's a woo-woo word in the entrepreneur space. When you thank yourself for doing, and I'm going to take it a step further here in a second. You ready? I'll take it a step further. I'm not one of these, just sit here and meditate and think about $4 million and think it's going to come to me. I'm an action guy. I don't believe in all that, 4 million, 4 million, 4 million. Some dude's going to walk in and hand me $4 million. I don't believe in any of that. However, I do believe in intention setting and the action behind intention setting. And so for me, I take it a step further. So when you thank yourself, and all of us in here, how hard are we on ourselves? Like if we talk to ourselves like anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like if I talk to you like I talk to myself, you come up here and punch me. And I don't want this man punching me because I can look at him and tell I don't want him punching me. But we're so hard on ourselves. And so many executives and entrepreneurs have a hard time giving ourselves love and gratitude. When you give yourself gratitude, it is self-love. It is looking at all the things you're doing right. And I'm going to take it a step further. I have now the things that I am working on, and I'm going to give you what they are right now. So I'm just going to be authentic. Thank you, Tommy, I will write this every day, for being a loving, present husband. My wives and I have our hands in a lot of businesses. We've become business partners and not partners. And so I want to be more loving and present, and I don't want to, we could be business partners. I don't want to marry you, brother. So for me, my intention is to be more loving and present. I'm writing it, thank you, as it has already happened. And what happens over time is I start taking action on that. At night when I want to say, hey, the hotel we just bought, how's the room rate doing? How's the new employee? I won't do that. I'm like, hey, let's go for a walk, grab some dinner. She's like, who are you? Who is this man? So I set that intention. Thank you, Tommy. I'll give you the leadership things again. I don't write this one, but I'll just say it to you. Thank you, Tommy, for being a confident, optimistic, authentic leader. So whatever it is in your life or business you're working on, maybe you're working on being a better salesperson. Thank you, Jane, for being a great salesperson. You're setting the intention and the actions will come after that. So the formal gratitude practice, brother, is about thanking yourself and thanking others and mixing it up. Because if we look around this room, the fact that we have shoes on our feet, we should be thankful for. The fact that, look where we are, y'all. We're getting to do that. You don't have to do this. You get to do it. How cool is that? So we're all feeling that great. Feel that? That feels good, doesn't it? We're here. That's gratitude, man. And so to me, and here's the informal, and there's ninja tricks all over the place. I don't know who to give these books to,
Yeah, I
brother.
was just thinking about those books. I was like, we haven't been talking about that.
Yeah.
Well, Rob got up. Eric got up. There's a couple.
There's a boatload of informal ninja tricks, and what happens is it becomes a way of operating. The easiest one is the moment, and you've got to catch it. So the key to all of this, getting more confident, courageous, loving, respectful, all the good side, all the words we talk about. The key to that is we've got to stay on the gratitude and love scale. So the moment when you become aware, you cannot become unaware, which is kind of sucks in some ways. But once you become aware that you're angry or you're judging or you're gossiping or you're worrying or you're feared, the moment you feel that, whether it's in a car, I could be in a meeting talking to somebody and you guys would have no idea I'm doing it. I have to tell you a true story here in a second. The moment that you feel insecure or you don't belong or you're worried or God almighty, you're overwhelmed, immediately, unconsciously in your brain, start thinking of gratitude. And it'll be life-changing for you because it'll happen unconsciously over time. It'll be more than the other stuff. True story, when I made it to the board and these people were as alpha and high maintenance and angry and you name it, I used to sit in these board meetings and most of the people were in their 60s and there I am 39 years old and I don't know what I was doing in there, but I would literally take notes the whole time. I never said a word. Remember that whole 2 ears, 1 mouth thing? I never said a word. And they were like, man, you're the best board member. I was just taking notes. The whole time I'm writing gratitude. I didn't hear the financials. I didn't hear what they're talking about. I didn't hear their goals. I was literally writing gratitudes because it was that intense in there. And it changed my life. And literally went from being one of the most hated people in the firm one of the most beloved. I can do that. We can do the work. We can do that. You wouldn't be in here if you couldn't do your craft. We got to get better at our crafts, but we got to get better here and here. And that's what I was working on in those tough meetings. There's another informal way. Act like you're taking notes. Give yourself some self-love. You know, just do it. And here's another ninja trick, by the way. I just learned this. When you walk into a team meeting, and this one's hard, this one takes practice. Look around the room, say it's 4 people or 30 people. Look around the room and silently in your head say something good about each one of those people. It will change the tone of that meeting in seconds. Because they're human beings, they got their own struggles, they're working their ass off for you. In their brain it said like, God, Joe didn't meet his damn sales goal again. It's like, man, Joe, even if it's Joe, man, that's a great shirt. Or, you know, it doesn't matter. Think about something good with the employee. These are all little hacks, by the way.
All right, so I know I saw a couple people kind of head toward the mic. We have just a few minutes left. Is anybody on Zoom trying to chime in? Okay, let's have one on Zoom and Marcy up here at the mic.
Perfect. Samantha had a follow-up question to kind of your view on your family. She said, would you apply the same rule to a negative employee or approach more directly, and how? I find the people who are negative at a company are very convinced of their rightness.
Ooh, that's a master class and an epic. Whoever asked that question, they get a book. Who was that, by the way? Hey there, I see you waving. Your name is this big, so I can't see your name, but hello, great question. Samantha, great question, Samantha. There's about 10 ways to deal with negative employees. If it's a true, the problem is our society is teaching that being righteously rude is acceptable because we're all righteous when we think we're right. So first of all, we have to discern, are they truly a bad employee? Is this something rare? Is this a pattern? I could teach a master class on this. But there's direct, indirect, there's all sorts of communication ways. Here's what I would tell you. When you're communicating with a negative employee, if you can always stand next to them and start with the why this is an issue, make it not about them or their behavior, but here's the expectations and the why, the mission, the purpose, the vision of the organization. Here's why this seems to be out of line with that. What am I missing? What am I not missing? Because here's the direction we're going, and here's the direction you potentially are going, and there's a direct, indirect, there's all sorts of ways to do this. But stand next to them, not in front of the back. Talk to them about the why, the what it looks like, the what the results are happening, what the ecosystem around that behavior is doing. But here's the truth. I bet it's been said 55 times in this conference. It's a master class that we could teach on this. But always make it about never again sacrifice the army for the employee. I'm telling you, you have to have that mentality. It sounds cold, but it is true. You've got to discern the human, but if you make it about the philosophy, the value, the mission, the vision, and how this particular behavior is not in line with that, and this is the way you see it and the results, and if we fixed it, this would be happen, and if they're all on board with that, if not, they got to go. So especially if they're righteously rude and they're negative all the time, they will eat you from the inside out, and they got to go. And I'm sure, how many times have you heard this week? Hire slow, fire fast. Has that been 65 times? That's because it's true. But great question, and it's probably 2 days of work to talk about that.
All right, come to the May event next year. We'll do that again. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Marcy.
This has been excellent. I appreciate your preparation in what it took for you to present this information to us.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like I had a really good morning routine, and then my kids got older and busier and hijacked it. And I know that's an excuse, but in the mornings, like, they have to be out at a certain time and drop off, pick up, breakfast, all of that. And so I feel like, and then work has been busier, and so that's getting earlier. So kids get busier, and then and so my morning is like gone. Like, how do I get my morning back?
So what I would do with you, I bet if you and I sat down wherever, right there, we could sit the Indian style on the floor. I bet we could find, I'm not saying, that's probably very real. And so in priority is rest, physical exercise, and then the morning routine. That's the priority, by the way. So rest is number one, physical health is number two, and number three is the mental, emotional, spiritual.
Yeah, and that's the big, I'm missing the workout gets squished, missed or lost some days.
Yep. So I bet if we reverse engineered your schedule, we could find some time. Now, are you an entrepreneur? You run your own business?
My husband and I together, yes.
Sweet. Where's the husband?
Okay.
Hey, brother. So this is a family discussion. You ready?
And he's totally supportive, I should say that.
I knew that when he raised his hand like this, that he was supportive. Both of you make your own time. Your kids, by the way, I'm going to say this real quick. This is a whole nother masterclass. Your kids are not your purpose in life. They are not. Your purpose is bigger than them, and their purpose is bigger than you. Your kids are your responsibility, which is ahead of purpose. So thank you for taking care of your children. They're your responsibility. You're the priority first, your kids are second. You ready? You're a priority first, your kids are second. You can't be the best mother, father, leader, accountability person, disciplinarian, inspirer if you're second. You have to be first. You will save your marriages too, by the way. Business is not first, kids are not first, you guys are first. You individually, and then you as a couple. I'll say that again, I love you. You individually, you as a couple, kids, business. I guarantee you business and kids are probably ahead of both of those. Your jobs is to reverse engineer your day and find 30 minutes, maybe together, maybe separate, to schedule, calendar, help, reprioritize, shift, and find yourself 30 minutes to exercise. Do it together, gamify it, come up with a time together. You have administrative support?
Yeah.
They're golden on this. Make them make you. So you have to reverse engineer your life. You two separately first, relationship second, kids, business. I know that's really hard for entrepreneurs to hear that. You can do it. I guarantee you can find 30 minutes. I bet if the three of us sat together, I'd find 3 hours. Turn off your email for 30 minutes. Email is someone else's to-do list, y'all. Turn the shit off. There you go. There's your 30 minutes.
There's your 30 minutes.
There's your 30 minutes right there.
That was awesome. For anybody who got up and asked a question, including those who asked questions on Zoom, we want to make sure.
Since you're the last two, we'll give you a book.
Yeah, we want to make sure.
Some life hacks.
Anyway, this has been fabulous. I know we could spend hours and days talking. Our schedule says we need to move on. You've already given us so much. On your way out here, as we kick you out, what do you want to leave with them that just says you need to take care of yourself? I mean, you said it many ways, but last words.
Okay, so the last words is, you guys heard me say earlier, participate in your own rescue. The first time I heard that, I used to be an extreme whitewater guy. And I'll never forget, I was on, that's really cool. Thank you, Lindsay. I'm an extreme whitewater guy. And it says participate in your own rescue up there. Holy cow, look at this. Swear to you that wasn't planned. The first time I heard this is I was going through these 5+ rapids, which is river speak for super dangerous. And I asked the guy, I'm like, if I fall in the river, what do I need to do? And he's like, follow the light, which means I'm basically drowning. I'm like, well, okay, if I don't want to follow the light, what do I do? And he goes, participate in your own rescue. And what he meant is you're going through a class 5 rapid, the boat's going crazy. You got to turn over, you got to put your feet up, you got to look for a rope. And if you can't find a rope, you got to do your best to swim to safety. And the first time I heard that, I was like, my God, that is an analogy for life. A politician, a magic pill, a quick fix, someone else is not going to save your life or make you happy or find you joy. You have to look in the mirror. You are the solution and the problem and the solution. In order to love others and lead others and respect others, we have to do that for ourselves first. We got to get mentally strong, emotionally strong, and if it's important to you, spiritually strong. If you don't think we're weak, look at media. It's us to us, the community, the ambitious people, the people of the world who want to make impact, who want to live a life of significance. It's up to us to reprioritize. I'm saying you're still going to spend 2/3 of your waking hours at your business. Entrepreneurs, I'm not telling you not to do that. It takes one to know one. What I am telling you is reprioritize your time to put yourself first, because it will make your marriage stronger, it will make your sex life stronger, it will make you more money, and it will make you more respected within your communities, and people love confident people. Participate in your own rescue, invest in yourself first, work on your inner game. All of this is outer game, y'all. We're in the outer game right here. Profits, cash flows, that's outer game. Those are the results, right? You've heard this over and over again. Purpose, people, profit. Right? You heard that's the new mantras out there, whatever. Same thing goes for you. You first, your community, network, and family second. Hear that? Community, network, family second, because those are your experiences. You will regret not doing that at the end. Network, community, family second. You first. Network, community, network second. If you do that, I've done it. I've hundreds, maybe thousands now. If you reshift it and then you still spend all your time, but your business lasts, I promise you, success, happiness, joy, peace of mind, more sex, better sleep. Who doesn't want more sex and better sleep? I do. So I'll leave you with more sex and better sleep. There you go.
And with that, all right, thank you so much. Get over here, brother.
Yeah.
All right.